Hi everyone, it's me Kitty again. We've talked already about dysautonomia and POTS and what that is. And if you haven't watched that video yet, then I'd suggest watching that one before watching this one. I just kind of wanted to talk a bit more about, the symptoms of it and how it comes about. So as I said in my last video about it, that, a lot of people will find either their symptoms get worse or come on suddenly with puberty in the teenage years, and that's because of all the hormonal changes and everything else. And I think it's important for us to realize that when we talk about this type of condition, that it's either primary or secondary condition. So for a lot of people that have EDS, they will find that they also have POTS or some other form of dysautonomia. So then it would become a secondary condition. And similar to, I know people with diabetes also might have dysautonomia, and I'm sure there's several other conditions that are closely linked with dysautonomia. Now, you might also have it as a primary condition, which means that you have no kind of reason for having it. And not to say that having another condition is a reason for having it. It's, there's still obviously a lot we don't know about these types of conditions, but there's definitely, the populace out there of people who just have dysautonomia and don't have any other illnesses. So obviously then I suppose it becomes more of a shock to you then if that's your case. I think though it's important, to understand then that kind of shock, I suppose. So you're basically a healthy person. You start to get into your teenage years, you've never had an issue in your entire life, then all of a sudden you're struck down with this sudden illness, and it can be a complete mystery, and it can take a long time to diagnose as well. So even when you get the diagnosis, you don't really have answers because it was so sudden, and there just isn't the answers. That's just sometimes how illness happens, unfortunately, and sometimes how disabilities happen too. It's not always so clear cut and black and white, and we're not always all born with these symptoms and with these conditions. I mean, obviously they're underlying and they're there, but we don't feel them until something happens later in life. And unfortunately, with teenage years, with all the hormones and everything going on, that can often be the case with POTS. Now, I think obviously if you're going through that, it's normal to want to look for answers and to have something or someone to blame. But it wouldn't be right doing videos like this and letting as the general public, that we can blame what we want. And I could sit here and talk all day about people blaming vaccines and other silly things, but that's just not true, and there's no evidence to suggest that there's any link between any vaccine and POTS, or that's without going too much in depth with it, if you have an allergic reaction to something, it's not very common, and it would be mild. And if you suffer from POTS, it's not mild. In other cases of POTS, some people have a post-infection type POTS, so you might have the flu, or another type of virus, and then develop POTS from that. Now, luckily, if that's the case, you could find, and many people do find, that gradually their symptoms get better and go away, which is brilliant. Absolutely fantastic. So it's important to decipher what type of POTS you have. If there was an underlying illness, either a chronic illness like Ehlers-Danlos syndrome or diabetes, or if you've had a virus like the flu. That's the only really two things that we talk about, because they're the only two things with evidence, they're the only two things with scientific basis. And if you're going to click on the subscribe button, do so knowing that I am very pro-science, and the channel will be also. So if that's not your thing, absolutely fine. I wouldn't click subscribe, just to let you know that. But fantastic, if you want to subscribe, please do. So also then I suppose I kind of wanted to talk about this element of the condition, because for those people that maybe have the onset after flu or another type of virus, it's very easy then to turn around when symptoms start to get better and say, oh, that's because I did A, B, and C. When in reality, if you have if you have a condition that was brought on by a virus, more than likely it will suppress and it will go away in time, or even not go away completely. It might just get better. And that often doesn't matter what you do, to be honest. I mean, that's unfortunate. I mean, we all want to know that we control our bodies and that we know what's going on in our bodies, but sometimes there is no control. But the way things often work if you have a post-infection condition is that it can just get better, and nothing we do affects that. It's just really time and luck. It's either good luck or it's bad luck, unfortunately. But you will probably come across in your journey of diagnosis with POTS and dysautonomia and EDS, you will come across bloggers and Instagrammers and the like, who might try to tell you that, oh, I got POTS from ABC and ABC cured it, you know. So it can be a big business. Chronic illness and disability can be a big business, unfortunately, for influencers and for bloggers alike. And they can easily dish out medical information based on absolutely nothing. I'm not saying that their own experiences aren't nothing, but their own experiences are bullshit, unfortunately. The only cases of people of POTS that I've came across who went into complete remission, or even, you know, part remission, and who are very vocal about that. If you dig deeper, they've had the viral type, so they've had something happened to them, they've had a virus, and then they've managed to get better. Now, that's not to say that it can't happen the other way around, that you don't know the root cause and that your symptoms get better. A lot of people do find their symptoms get better after teenage years and hormones settle down, and I think there's also an element as you get older, you find it easier to deal with. So say, I don't know, like when I get asked a lot of the time by my doctors, do you think your symptoms are better now? I used to say, oh yeah, now my symptoms are way better now than when I was a teenager or even early 20s. But then I started to think about it. And this is only because doctors have said it to me. Well, did they get better? Or did you just change as a person? So there's a massive element of that. And, you know, it's like only when you start thinking, you're like, oh, okay, actually, no, I am better at staying hydrated. I am better at knowing my triggers like heat. So in the summer, you won't see me outside a lot. I'm better with using mobility aids when I need to, using stockings when I need to for compression to, you know, stop blood pooling in the legs, things like that. I just found out kind of, oh, this is what I have, and educated myself and was just better at taking care of it from those elements. Now, also because with age I'm less mobile, so I don't have to stand up and walk around a lot. So that helps massively. So when I kind of say that my POTS and dysautonomia got a bit better with age, it's just that I've changed more so than it's gotten a lot better. And that might be the case for you, or it could be the case that your symptoms die down a bit, and both, you know, that's absolutely fantastic if that's what happened to you. But a lot of the time when people, you know, have a virus, it will go into complete remission, and that's great for them. But it's easy to turn around and say that, well, juicing did it, or a vegan diet did it, or any other silly things did it. And, you know, people get money for bullshit claims. People get money. So it's important, I think, to discuss that and talk about that as a separate kind of video when we're talking about POTS and dysautonomia. You know, just be aware that if you've just been diagnosed with any condition and you're reading blogs, you're on Instagram, take posts with a pinch of salt. And, you know, I eat vegan for several reasons, including digestive problems. And I juice, also great for my digestion, especially when I can't eat food. And, you know, it's healthy food is healthy. Like, it's very black and white. It's very basic. You did it in primary school. You were told to eat your 5 portions fruit and veg a day. And it's good for you. And of course you're going to, like, feel better than eating shit all day. I mean, that's just common sense. You know, it's not going to fix your disabilities and your illnesses. That's just not going to happen. If it was, I'd be completely fine. Because, you know, that is one of the things. I'm relatively healthy diet-wise, you know, so I can definitely attest to that's absolute bullshit. So be very aware if anyone tells you they have cured their POTS. It's either up to bad luck, it's up to good luck, and unfortunately there's no magic potions, there's no magic cures, and we love the old cure here in Ireland, but unfortunately it's all bullshit. So if you have any questions in regards to this video, or just any statements, I'm sure you've heard like some hilariously funny things about how people have cured their illnesses and their disabilities. Tell us your stories in the comment section, and any questions at all, feel free to ask.